Hyun wakes up in the trunk of a car screaming for help. The kidnapper stands coldly in front of her and tells her to calm down. She is then taken to a place where there are other girls her age wearing the same clothes. What is this mysterious place? And how did Hyun end up there? Earlier that day, Hyun goes out with Abby, using a fake ID to get into a nightclub. It's her first time, and she's very happy about this new experience. Hyun is immediately approached by a handsome young man in military uniform. She tells him she's too young, but he thinks that's very special. Then he excuses himself to make a phone call. He returns and offers her a ride to her house. On the way, he asks her to spend some time in the car, but Hyun says no. He agrees to stop. But before he goes, he gets out of the car to make a phone call. Hyun notices that there are lots of fake badges and uniforms for several jobs in the back seat of the car. She senses that something is wrong. She gets out of the car and runs. But suddenly, someone hits her, and she loses consciousness. The next day, U.S. Marshal Bob notices the sheriff standing with someone, watching something. He goes to see what's going on. The sheriff tells him that Phil found a dead body on his own property and called it in. When Bob saw the body, he asked Phil if there was anyone else living with him, or if he'd told anyone. But he assures him that he lives alone and that no one knows about it. Suddenly, Bob pulls out his gun and kills both men. Hyun regains consciousness in a truck with two other girls. Suddenly, the truck stops, and a tall man approaches her. She loses consciousness again, and when she wakes up, finds herself handcuffed to a bed. She notices that she is in a room that looks like a surgical operation room. A nurse-like woman approaches her. She gives Hyun no chance to speak, puts her to sleep and removes her braces. She then tends to her head wound and asks the men present to take her into the bathroom to clean her up. After regaining consciousness, she discovers that she is in a place where there are many girls her age wearing the same clothes. Marshal Bob arrives with a box full of cats and asks them each to choose a cat to raise. He then warns them not to think of escaping, for if anyone tries, their fate will be death, like that of their friend Maria, whom he killed when she tried to escape. They're scared, and each of them takes a cat. Except Hyun, who was sleeping on the bed. Bob goes to see her and tells her that he knows all about her, and that she's about to start her new job. Her new name is Eden, and he asks her not to tell anyone her real name. She understands from his words that the people who kidnapped her are a gang who traffic in girls. He warns her that if she tries to escape, he'll hurt her family, because he knows everything about her. After that, she prepares to leave. Pairs work with the girls. Vaughn gives them dresses to wear and prepares them for work. Then he picks up Hyun and another girl and takes them to a nightclub. A woman ties them up and beats them while Vaughn films them. At the end of the film, we see Huan very frustrated and Kyo trying to calm her down. The next day, Vaughn takes Hyun to a client's house, but she runs away. Vaughn manages to catch her and bring her back. When she tries to ask people for help, Vaughn tells them she's a criminal and he's a cop doing his job. Hyun has been fired, and Vaughn has decided to torture her so she won't run away again. He put her in a bathtub filled with ice and left her overnight. Hyun has been like this for a year and has no friends other than Q. She notices her ring on Svetlana's hand. Q tells her that Svetlana has a lot of influence over the girls because she's over 18 and works with the gang. Hyun then accompanies Vaughn to a nightclub. After finishing work, she prepares to go home, but before she does, she breaks the heel of her shoe and hides it on her. In the evening, Hyun makes sure Svetlana is asleep, attacks her with the heel of her shoe, and takes the ring. Vaughn intervenes and decides to punish her by making her swallow the ring. She offers to help Vaughn with the accounts, since she's now an adult and 19, but he refuses. The next day, Vaughn reconsiders Hyun's offer, especially as he's not very good at calculations. Suddenly, he notices that the girls have fled the place while he's been busy. He gets into the car with Hyun to look for the girls. Hyun was able to reveal the girls' whereabouts to him, and that's how she went from being kidnapped to a gang member. The next day, Vaughn has the girls ready for work, except for Hyun, whom he takes to an office so she can start answering calls. Svetlana is angry that she's taken her place, but Vaughn tells her it's an order and sends her away from the office. He also took away her cat and gave it to Hyun. He taught her how to work and how to respond to customers. When she asked him about prices, he told her that customers knew the prices and that she should inform him of anyone who asked about prices. She also helped him transport girls and drugs. She became in charge of the accounts. Next, we see Bob, the leader of the largest gang of girl traffickers, who was giving a lecture on gangs and the evils of human trafficking. Officer Rove Greer arrives and tells Bob he's investigating the murder of the sheriff and Phil a year ago. Since the GPS proved that Bob was present at the scene of the accident, he came to ask him, but Bob denied it and left him. Hyun answers a call and records the customer's information. But when the customer asks her for the price, she suspects someone is watching them. So she tells him the price is $600 and hides it from Vaughn. The next day, she accompanies Vaughn and Bob to dispose of the bodies of 2 young girls. On the boat, Vaughn suddenly kills Bob. He asks Hyun to calm down, as he has received an order from his bosses. They return to the residence. The next day, Vaughn takes Hyun to the home of 2 gangsters. She discovers that it's the same person who kidnapped her. When she asks to enter the bathroom, she discovers that the place is equipped for childbirth. She then finds a bedroom and enters. There she finds her friend Kyo, who is pregnant. She tells her that they're looking after her and that the fetus is healthy. Hyun tells her they'll try to hurt her, and she says she'll try to save her. But Kyo refuses, knowing she's working with them. On the way, Vaughn gets a call that he needs to move the girls somewhere else. Hyun has helped them burn all the files and evidence in the place. She then returns home with Vaughn. He asks her to choose a passport with a photo that looks like her because they're going to Dubai. She takes advantage of his preoccupation to put poison in his drug tube. Then she takes the money and passports, and an injection of anesthetic. Then she goes to the house where Kyo is staying. She offers to buy Kyo from the man, but he refuses, telling her that the money isn't enough. He allows her to see Kyo for just 5 minutes. Walking behind him, she gives him an anesthetic injection. She then enters the room and finds Kyo. She wants to take her away, but Kyo refuses, because she wants to stay with her child. Hyun reveals to her that the gang had sold her child, and she flees with her. She then calls her mother. When she hears her daughter's voice, she starts to cry.